It's also why every single one of them says, why does my financial say I'm profitable and I have no money in the bank? Because you spent it.
If you're sacrificing your own paycheck for your mission, you are trapped in entrepreneurial poverty. But as Ron says, you cannot pour from an empty cup. This week, Profit First co-founder Ron Saharyan reveals the exact framework to pay yourself from day one, and how to use profit to fund a radical culture, like giving your team 8 weeks of paid vacation. Stop guessing with your cash flow.
Welcome to the Purpose Profit Shift, where real stories about bold shifts illuminate how we can create a new economy. I'm your host, Rachel Bernier Green, social entrepreneur, activist, and founder of EJ Consortium, a finance consulting firm designed to help purposeful businesses change the world. Today, I'm sitting down with Ron Saharyan, co-founder and managing partner of Profit First Professionals. I'm proud to be a Profit First professional and have greatly enjoyed working with Ron. Ron and his partner, Mike Michalowicz, have built the world's largest organization focused on small business profitability, helping over 300,000 companies worldwide take control of their cash flow. Their mission? To eradicate entrepreneurial poverty, and Ron's journey from investigating felony crimes in Washington, D.C. to launching a global movement from a basement in Boonton, New Jersey, is proof that profit and purpose aren't opposites, they're partners. Let's get into it. Ron, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. No, thank you so much for having me and having me on this platform. What a great introduction. And yeah, I'm part of the team that came up with that book behind you with that little question mark in it, Profit First. And I just want to thank you, but also correct you. When you said 300,000, that was about 9 years ago. So we have well over a million plus implementations of Profit First going on worldwide. Profit First has expanded into, 50 different countries. We have Profit First US, Canada, Germany, Belgium, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, you name it. And why I want to share that is because if it works in these countries, in those domains, in those industries, it's going to work in every person's business who hears my voice today.
Yes, thank you so much for that update. That is absolutely phenomenal. I knew the book was translated into so many languages, but I'm just thinking about all the lives touched and kind of what the real impact of that number is.
It's crazy. I mean, plus our members have written 18 book derivatives, which means their niche specialization. So that has helped as well, too. And, everything that you're doing, Rachel, everything that your organization is doing is impacting. I mean, we are a mission-based business, right? Our mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty, and we take that seriously. And you know that. I mean, I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, and that is why I'm a Profit First professional. So as we kind of jump into it, one of the things that is kind of Profit First lore is that the story goes that you and Mike made the decision to launch Profit First Professionals in like 12 minutes. So what was that conversation like, and what made you say yes to this idea so quickly?
Okay, so that's pretty good folklore. Actually, Mike and I go way back. We grew up in the same town. We went to the same grade school. We went to the same high school. We sat at the same lunch table. We played on the same sports teams. Okay, and so we were buddies. Mike's 2 grades ahead of me, and so he was a senior and I was a sophomore, basically, right? And so Mike graduated and he started, his career. I graduated and I started corporate. Mike was an entrepreneur. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's an inventor. He's a mad scientist. So all along Mike's journey of entrepreneurism, he was actually recruiting me to help him join and build those other companies. Okay. And so the actual story is about after about 15, 20 years of Mike recruiting me and me saying no, I was working in Manhattan and it was time to move on, for lack of to shorten the story. Mike reached out to me. He said, Ron, I'd like you to read my manuscript. It's called Profit First. I said, here we go again. I read it. I loved it. And he said, all right, I want to start a business with you. I said, all right, come on over. So him and his wife came on over. We, split a bottle of wine. We had a great discussion, and that discussion was probably about 12 minutes. But it was the recruitment and me knowing Mike over the years and seeing
Yeah.
his genesis and seeing him rise and fall and rise and fall. And to the point where, I knew Mike in the stories of the book where he was egotistical, where he was, blowing all his money, where he thought his shit didn't stink, all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so I partnered with him on his rebound, on his way up. And so it wasn't 12 minutes, but it was kind of 12 minutes.
Yeah, a lifetime that led to 12 pivotal minutes.
And it was an opportunity for me because some of your listeners might feel this way, that there's something more out there for it, right? Like I was doing very good at what I was doing. Very good, very good. I didn't need to leave, but I felt empty a little bit. I felt like there's got to be something more for me out there. I don't know what it was, but I was making money. I was having a good family stuff, but it was just empty. And
Yeah.
so Profit First filled that void. But you never know, and you're never too old to have an epiphany or know where your epiphany is going to come from.
Yeah.
But when it comes, I think we need to latch on to that, right? And so my story is when I started doing this with Mike, like most business owners, right? When you start a business, every business owner is rich, right? Every business owner is rich.
If only, if only.
I know. I know. I started this business because I thought I was going to be rich. Okay. Right. Oh no, this is a guy coming out of corporate. Okay. I didn't have a marketing team. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And so, yes, I was questioning what I was doing. Mike and I are in the basement of his house. Right. And like, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. Right. But I've got grit and I know I can learn really, really well. But it was at our first QuickBooks event, right? QuickBooks, the software event. And they have great guests. And the guest there, she was awesome. And she was talking about being worldly, being more. And I remember I'm sitting next to Mike. I'm sitting next to Gabrielle Fontaine, who happens to be an industry influencer back then as well as today. And we're talking, and I felt like the speaker was talking to me, right? I didn't have good seats, but I felt like she was looking at me, telling me to be more, telling me to be not just, more in my town, but more in my state, more in my, universally be more. I was like, oh my gosh. And right there, that's when I was like, this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to champion this cause of helping businesses. I'm here to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. And that speaker, do you know who that speaker was? I think I may have told you this, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, this speaker, she's very famous. She's awesome. And I knew of her beforehand, but I didn't know of her. Oprah.
Ah,
I had an Oprah moment.
an Oprah moment.
How crazy is that? Right?
Yeah.
And I've heard of Oprah moments before, but I never thought I would be impacted or have an epiphany like I had. And so I'm sharing this because many of you listeners here have great ideas, opportunities. We got to get them. We got to grab them by the horns and move it forward. If you don't have the courage, partner up with Rachel, partner up with somebody else, but get moving.
Yeah. And I love that you kind of mentioned that your, career was going well. It wasn't that you needed to leave. There was no kind of like breaking point. There was just something more. And I often, when I'm talking about my career, often segment it into two parts where I say this was kind of for me, it was actually a soul sucking part. And now I have the soul nourishing part where there was that something missing that I always was chasing outside of work. And now I get to do work that actually brings that together.
And you know what? I'm so happy that you found that. It took me 40 something years to find this, right? And I'm a totally different person than I was back then. I was a bad corporate manager. I didn't care about anything, right? And, when you do make money, just like a business, when a business is doing well, it clouds a lot of the problems that are there. You can easily mask problems at home and in the business when the money's healthy. But when the money isn't healthy, that's when all the ugly gremlins come on out. And this, what you're doing, what I'm doing is putting systems and processes in place for clarity, for financial freedom, to make sound business decisions, not only in the business, but also at home, right? So
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up because one of the things that you said that I am constantly repeating, it's that it's not profit that is bad. It's the dirt bags with a lot of money that do bad things that are bad. Because with
yeah,
profit, you can do a lot more good than without it. And I think that sometimes, especially for people who are running for-profit mission-driven enterprises, that they get lost there because they feel like profit is inherently dirty. And that's not the case. So can you help us unpack that for our audience of founders?
absolutely. I love it because, profit first is a system. It's not accounting, it's not bookkeeping, it's a financial clarity system, if you will. Churches, ministries, nonprofits, I've seen and been participating in a lot of them. And a lot of them, most 90% of them don't have cash flow clarity, right? They don't have the
No.
right system. They don't have the right processes. A new executive director comes on in, they change things. This isn't doing right, but there's no foundation for the financials to continue the gifting, continue the programs. And so what profit first is that framework. And it's not profit allows you to develop your business culture.
Mm-hmm.
Profit allows you to really give back to the community. Profit allows you to celebrate the health of your business as well.
Right.
It's agnostic. It's not good or bad. It's the people that have it that do good or do bad with it.
Right.
And so let's talk about why profit is good for culture. Okay. Because you can design your business with a family first mentality, right? I offer 8 weeks paid vacation to my staff.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
How
in
many
the US.
companies in America do that, right? We offer 2 profit sharing components, quarterly and year end, half day Fridays all year round, birthday card, right? Cakes, pizza, Fragles. Fragles are free bagels, but they're not free to me, right? Okay. Giving kids walking on up. Hey, can you sponsor my Little League team? Yes. This is all culture, right? Somebody comes in. Oh man, my coffee maker broke. It stinks. I need my coffee. I'm going to pick up the phone. And I'm going to have, Amazon deliver a coffee maker by the time she gets home. Right. And so what we're doing by using profit to create culture, we're giving them a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Paycheck.
Yeah. And see, a lot of things, I think, you hear people complain about pizza parties from bad management because they do that. And that's like the full extent of their caring. I remember I had a job once and we could literally work 100-hour weeks and we would get Starbucks gift cards so that we could go get caffeinated to keep working. And I was just like, that was the worst way that you could say thank you for this 120 hours of your life this week. Go get some more coffee.
Absolutely. And I grew up in that mindset. I was the 90s smile and dial, stack it high, let it fly, crack the whip, and who cares, right?
How did it change?
I saw
Not
how
an easy question, I know.
Yeah. I'll tell you how. I saw how my wife was. My wife was a corporate, executive in pharmaceuticals, and I saw some of the things that she was experienced from management, and I saw myself in various different things. I also matured, right? I realized, that single parents, have special needs. I realized that certain parents have special needs children. I just basically matured a heck of a lot, but when I had this opportunity, I wanted to make sure I put guardrails in place and policies to really foster a family first environment, meaning my staff will never miss anything important that's them. We had a quarterly event. Jess, Jess. Jess was, it was probably her 3rd month or 4th month or something like that. It's all hands on deck for our quarterly events. And, a lot of people don't realize how flexible and how, employee conscientious we are. It's almost like they think it's bullshit until they actually experience it. And plus, a lot of people have work PSTD, which is a real thing, right?
Very true.
And so, Jess was out of work under those conditions of a horrible boss, horrible management, scared for everything. And so she came to me one day and was like, "Hey, my daughter's got a recital." And I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." He's like, "Go." She's like, "Well, we got our quarterly event." I'm like, "I'll catch you up. No big deal." She came in the next day crying and thanking me because It was the first time that an employer had allowed her to leave work during working hours to go see something for her family.
Wow.
That's what it's about, right? And with Profit First, we have a tithing account, a family account, right? And so this is how working with you can architect the bank accounts and the cash flow to not only eliminate the pains to stabilize the business, but the other side of the coin is helping the business owner achieve what they want.
Right.
Right. And that's where you're using Profit First as a growth strategy to create greater EBITDA, to create, giving, to create missions, right? Because if the cash flow in the business is bad, how are you going to continue to give when your money is non-existent?
Exactly. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and that goes financially too.
Man,
and you've talked about this like before, that and with a lot of entrepreneurs, there's kind of this doctrine of sacrifice, especially for mission-driven entrepreneurs, that people buy into, and they feel like they're like tying their morality and their self-worth to this sacrifice. And it's a mindset that really has to be like, you have to kind of deprogram yourself from that mindset in order to move forward and find success.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, I knock on wood and I realize that I'm very, very blessed. At Profit First, we didn't have to worry about how we were going to figure out how we were going to pay ourselves, how we were going to be profitable, how we were going to be money was going to be used for future endeavors, how we were going to keep guardrails in place that we didn't overspend, what our decision-making process was when it came to money. I didn't have any of those problems because on day one, we implemented a system. This system resided between financials, which are historical documents, and forecasting, which are hopes and dreams. Who hear my voice right now has a system that literally, ensures that what you want to happen happens, versus waiting 30, 60, 90 days for your financials.
Hoping that it happens.
Yeah. And so, what we did is we followed the letter of the book to a T. We opened those bank accounts at the percentages in there. We sold, went in there, sold, went in there, delivered. And then, I remember, we got our first profit distribution we started in August. We paid ourselves a profit distribution. It was nothing. But guess what? I was paying myself from day one, and we were profitable from day one. And we have been giving profit distributions every quarter since 2014, all through COVID, through now, everything, because of this system.
And I want to dig into that for a moment, because sometimes I hear people say, well, I'm just starting up, so it's not possible for me to do Profit First because I won't make enough to do X, Y, or Z. What's your kind of rebuttal when people say I need to wait until, I'm more established before I start Profit First?
My Jersey response is bullshit, because it's true. I mean, listen, I get limiting beliefs. I get it. Okay. But you can start it. It's a framework. As a business owner, you need systems, right? How are you going to grow? Systems, processes, people. Okay. I'm telling you, you need a cash flow system, and yet you don't have one, right? Do you want to be another statistic? You want to keep doing what everybody else has been doing? Or do you want to be one of the million profitable businesses that is giving profit checks to their staff?
Yes.
Right. And so you start small, you drip it in. You just don't put 300 pounds on a bench press the first time you bench, crack yourself. Right. Same thing with Profit First. You work with an expert, you get it in there. They hold your hand. You don't upset the apple cart. You get comfortable with it. You're working the system. You're working the plan. You're adjusting it. Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So whether you're a startup or $100 million construction company, I've implemented Profit First in those two and everything in between.
So with all of the businesses that you have implemented Profit First in, and I know we talked at the beginning about the, just vast number of businesses, what would you say is the number one mistake that you see entrepreneurs make with their money?
That was a good one. I thought you were going a different way. What they make with their money is, spending it when they got it. Yep. They spend it when they got it. They see it. They make a business decision and spend it, not realizing that a portion of that money should be earmarked for another cause, right? Or multiple causes, quite honestly. Somebody comes on in,
accounting.
Yeah, they get a down payment, of a new project. They say it's 20 grand. Well, man, I got 20 grand in my bank account. I can finish buying this. I can finish buying that. I can buy the beginnings of this. I can pay myself a little bit. Oh my God, but you forgot about profit. You got about it tax. You got probably got burden. You forgot about all this stuff. And so, they're spending the money when they have it versus predetermining where that money should be going when they
Right.
receive it.
And that's when so many entrepreneurs I see then say, oh, I actually need access to capital. I need outside funding. And the outside funding is really a band-aid for a problem in the business, not strategic capital to grow the business because it's just patching holes because they're doing exactly what you said.
It's also why every single one of them says, why does my financial say I'm profitable and I have no money in the bank?
Hmm.
Because you spent it. What do you mean I spent it?
Yeah.
It says I have a profit. Yeah, a profit on paper is different than a profit in the bank. Okay.
Yes.
And so that's what I mean. They're spending the money. If they had a system in place that when the money came on in, it knew where to go. It's like an employee, right? Employees first day, they got to know where to go. You got to have their computer set up, their login set up. You got to, they got to shadow somebody to learn the lay of the land. Same thing. When your money comes on in, it's just sitting there.
Right.
Let's move it. Let's get it. Let's assign a purpose of it and let's use it for that
Yeah.
intended purpose.
And having those conversations with people, which sometimes can be difficult because people don't necessarily want to hear them. But I was listening to one of the Profit First courses, and you made this analogy. You said that, or I believe Mike was talking, and then you jumped in. He was talking about working with a personal trainer and how
Yeah.
you go to the personal trainer because you want certain results, and you don't tell the personal trainer, oh, well, I don't want to do this. I don't like doing. I mean, you probably do tell them that, but you understand that they're there to make you do hard things that you otherwise wouldn't do to get the results that you're striving for. And that's what it's like when you're working with a profit first professional, because these are the hard conversations I sometimes have to have with people.
I
Like,
had the hardest conversation with my trainer about 10 years ago. His name's Lenny Dandridge. Hey, Lenny, you're awesome. And this was at Bally's. I don't even know if Bally's is even around. That's where I'm going back.
oh,
And
I don't
so,
know.
Lenny, oh my gosh, this guy was jacked and he was awesome. And so I was a little bit cocky back then and arrogant. And, I'm meeting him for the first time and he's like, then the second time I'm meeting with him and I'm like, listen, why are you talking to me like this? Not everybody talks, you talk, blah, blah, blah. He's like, listen, my job is XYZ PDQ. You don't like it, get out. I'm the number one trainer here. There's a waiting list for me. You're lucky you got me. You're going to get the results you want faster, sooner, without hurting yourself by working with me than by doing it alone with anybody else. I'm like, oh shit. He's right. After that, basically, he had a come to Jesus conversation with,
Right.
right? And so that's sometimes it has to happen. You work with experts and you let them do their job. You hire
Right.
an expert and you don't complain about the money. Why? Experts work with experts because they know the results they're going to get. Now, you may not pick the right expert. That's a different thing. Okay. But that's why we have the certification to identify those that are guessing versus those that really know it, live it, breathe it. Do not work with
Right.
somebody that's just guessing on finances. Ugh.
Yeah, we actually have we're starting a campaign about the egregious mistakes that some of the clients, when they come to us, some of the things that have happened to them before by working with professionals that just weren't the right fit for what they needed at the time and didn't have the capability for what they needed. But one of the things I love about the PFP program is that we are constantly, there's trainings that we're working with you and Mike on, knowing what's at the forefront of the accounting industry, that we have places we can go to ask questions. So even when we are smaller firms, we're not going it alone. And that pays dividends and benefits to the people that we're working with.
Oh, absolutely. You not only do you get my knowledge, Mike's knowledge, but you get the cumulative knowledge, right? And
Right.
we are a close knit group. We are in this together. So there's partnering going on. There's all sorts of expertise. I mean, we've got, yeah, it's, of course, I'm saying it's a wonderful community, right? But again, like everything, you got to put in the effort to get the results. Just like
Right.
our listeners here, right? You're not going to get paid unless you do the job.
Yeah, very true. You have to get up, put in the work, and when we lay out the plans, actually execute the plans. The money is always in the execution.
Yeah, this thing about, getting our the mindset of that there is a different way, okay? It doesn't have to be the same way. And so as you read Profit First, okay, I ask the readers, be open-minded. Be
Hmm.
open-minded to this, okay? Now, if you're open-minded enough and you read through the book and you're like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. Awesome. I love it. Now, this is the next step. You're going to need to strengthen your mental fortitude to get through that learning curve. That learning curve is called suck. Too many people do not make it through the suck in whatever they're trying to
Yeah,
learn, right?
that
And
is so
so,
true.
yeah, so yes, you're gonna hit a roadblock. You're not gonna understand it necessarily, but you know what? By partnering up with Rachel or somebody else, they will guide you through it. But what you can do, if you're gonna try to do it yourself, you could try to do it yourself. Just lower the bar, start with 1%, right? And strengthen your mental fortitude, not to
Yeah.
justify stealing from Peter to pay Paul. If you had to do that, your allocations are off. You've over allocated a little bit. But when the reason I say this and the story I tell is my daughter Jane, she's 15 now. When TikToking came out, of course, she was all into that. She had a phone early on. And I remember her saying, no, she didn't have a phone. She was like, Daddy, let me borrow your phone. So she's borrowing my phone. I'm like, oh God, she's taking forever. She don't know what she's doing. And I'm like, ugh. Then she's getting this dancing. And she's showing me, oh, I did it wrong. Let me do it again. Oh, I did it wrong. Let me do it again. Do it wrong again. Simultaneously, she started Spanish. Every single hour of almost every day, she was on that phone, learning TikTok. Here we are 8 years later. How good you think? Imagine if she put the effort into Spanish as she did into TikTok. Now, don't judge my parenting, people. Okay. I tried, but that's what I'm talking about. She saw the benefit of making it through the suck, right? She enjoyed the learning process of learning the new technology, learning the new process, which is a dance. Okay. That's
Yeah.
profit first, new technology, new understanding. Now, executing that is the dancing, right? You're going to need practice. You're going to need help. You're going to get it wrong. You're going to fall down. Okay. This is where you get back up like my daughter and try it again and keep
Yeah.
going. You ask for help. How do I do this? How do I save this? How do I zoom in? Same thing with profit first. I don't understand tax. I don't understand this. And you seek out the clarity that you need to get it done right.
Yeah, I actually was just speaking about this on the last podcast recorded about how that kind of growth mindset is the most critical skill, I think, for entrepreneurship. And even as a parent, and my son is pretty young now, but that's like one of the things that I want to instill in him, that failure is a part of the process. And when you look at it that way, because people, especially if you're going it alone on doing something like a profit first implementation, you do make mistakes, and that's okay. That is part of the process. Implementations very, very rarely go perfectly, and you should expect to, make those missteps, learn from them, and then continue moving forward.
I learned from my parents that it was okay to make mistakes early on, especially in school. And how? What did they do? And I did this with my daughter, and it works. Be the first to ask the question, because you show courage,
Hmm.
people will be like, wow. And you might get the answer wrong, but you're going to get the right answer. And no one
Yeah,
is ever punished for being first and trying to answer something.
that's so
Okay.
true.
Yeah. So listen, you know what? You get it wrong. No, you're not going to get in trouble. It's not a thing. The fact that you're willing to be the first to raise your hand and answer a teacher takes courage. Okay. That courage is often rewarded by the teacher because
Hmm.
you're helping them. Thank you for raising your hand, Jane. Yes, the answer isn't right, but this is my blah, 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 blah. Awesome. Anybody else next? You're building your credit, you're building your worth with that teacher.
Yeah,
And you're learning that it's okay to be wrong.
yeah.
It's
I will
simple.
say we have a program called Bridge where we have clients come in and they have office hours. And the people who come up to office hours and say, okay, I took the course, I did this, it didn't work out the way I thought. Tell me what I did wrong. Help me walk through it. They learn so much, and their businesses grow by leaps and bounds because they're coming in and showing up and putting in that work.
They're questioning for clarity, not questioning for bullshit to prove you
Right.
wrong. There's a big difference, right? And so, and I can smell that a mile away. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not trying to put lipstick on that pig because it's just going to frustrate you and piss me off.
And that's a very funny visual because when you jumped on Zoom, the picture
Oh,
on
my
your
pig.
Zoom, you're holding like a paper mache
Yeah,
pig.
there you go. That's the Profit First pig, a mascot from back in the day.
Thank you for flashing that so everyone else got the same visual that I did.
Yeah.
But as we're wrapping up, I know that I was on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast that you host, and we were discussing the social impact revolution. And I wanted to see what was something that excites you about this intersection of profit first and purpose-driven businesses, and how you think those businesses have a chance to change the world.
Because they can be sustained with the right system, right?
Yeah.
Too many businesses go out, regardless of they're nonprofit or mission based, right? And mission based is great, but I see mission based as a little bit of too much doing it for doing it versus generally doing it for the true mission. And so I love the intersection, because when profit and mission hit together with the right combination of leaders, holy cow, right? We can really save things. We can really empower people, generations, communities, stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. I want to get this into the government, but I ain't getting into the government for one reason or another. Man, we teach it in the schools. We're getting it into colleges. We're getting it into universities. People are teaching it at their churches. People are teaching it all over the place, right? And so, and if there's a good mission, right, and a good business, let's make sure that it succeeds by ensuring that they have cash flow clarity, and their money that they receive in value is already purposefully assigned. So for purpose, if you don't like profit first, you don't like the name profit, okay, how about this? Call it purpose first. No owners pay, executive draw, no tax, major grant. The framework is still the same. We're just changing different names.
Yes.
Purpose first.
I absolutely love that. So for everyone listening, that was Ron Saharyan, the co-founder of Profit First Professionals, reminding us that profit is not the enemy of purpose. It is what funds it. And he is living proof with the culture that they have built at Profit First Professionals. And I have seen it firsthand and been a beneficiary of it firsthand. And if you want to learn more about the Profit First methodology, you can visit our website at www.ejconsortium.com and book a discovery call now. And we will send you the first 2 chapters of the book absolutely free as a thank you for showing up.
I'll tell you what, I'll sweeten this. The first 5 people that book an appointment with you, I'll gift them a copy of Profit First for free.
Thank you, Ron. That is phenomenal. I appreciate that. So you heard it here first. The first 5 people that book those discovery calls are actually going to get a free copy of the Profit First book. And if this conversation resonated with you, here's what I'd love you to do. Subscribe to the Purpose Profit Shift wherever you listen to podcasts. We've got episodes dropping regularly with more visionary founders like Ron and change makers who are reshaping how business gets done. And if you found value in today's episode, leave us a rating and review. It helps other values-driven leaders find us. Until next time, keep leading with intention, scaling responsibly, and building businesses that matter. I'm Rachel Bernier Green, and this is the Purpose Profit Shift.